Chosen one, you've been feeling different lately, haven't you? This is why. The pain that never made sense. You tried to understand it. Why things always felt heavier for you. Why your heart carried weight others couldn't even see. But here's the truth, it was never random. Every moment that broke you was shaping you. Every tear you hid was awakening something deeper inside. You weren't just going through pain. You were being prepared for something greater. You were never like them. From the beginning, you felt it. Like you didn't belong. Like you were observing the world, not fitting into it. People laughed at things you couldn't. They ignored truths that kept you awake at night. You saw deeper. You felt stronger. That difference, that's not a flaw. That's your calling. The silent battles you fought alone. No one saw the nights you questioned everything. The moments you felt lost, even surrounded by people. The times you stayed quiet, just to avoid being misunderstood. You learned to fight battles without noise. To heal wounds without witnesses. To stand even when no one stood with you. And that kind of strength, it's not built by accident. Why your life felt harder. You wondered why things never came easy. Why you had to struggle more than others. Why doors closed when you needed them open the most. Because easy paths don't create powerful souls. Because pressure creates purpose. Because your journey was never meant to be ordinary. You were being trained. Tested, prepared for something bigger than comfort. The awakening begins. At some point, something shifted. You started seeing through illusions, through fake smiles, through empty conversations. You began craving truth, depth, meaning, and suddenly, the life you once knew started feeling changé. Not because you changed randomly, but because you finally woke up. Why people do understand you. You tried explaining yourself, but they looked at you like you were different. Because you are. You're not meant to blend in with a world that avoids truth. You're not meant to shrink just to be accepted. You're not meant to silence your soul just to fit their noise. They don't understand you because they haven't reached your level of awareness yet. The truth about your pain. Every heartbreak taught you something. Every betrayal opened your eyes wider. Every loss redirected your path. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was meaningless. Your pain was a teacher, a guide, a force pushing you toward your real purpose. You were being protected, not punished. Some things didn't work out, and it broke you. But look deeper. What if that rejection saved you? What if that loss protected your future? What if that delay aligned everything perfectly? Not everything you lose is meant to hurt you. Some things leave to make space for something greater. The strength you didn't notice. You kept going even when you were tired. Even when you felt like giving up. Even when no one understood your journey. That strength didn't come from nowhere. It was built through every painful moment you survived. You didn't break. You transformed. Why you feel everything so deeply. You feel more than others. You notice energy. You sense truth behind words. That's not weakness. That's awareness. Chosen ones don't just live life. They feel it. They understand it. They see what others ignore. The world tried to silence you. They told you to be normal, to stop overthinking, to just go with the flow. But deep down, you knew you couldn't. Because your soul wasn't designed to follow. It was designed to lead, to awaken, to disrupt illusions. You were meant to stand alone first. Loneliness wasn't punishment. It was preparation. It taught you independence, self-awareness, inner strength. Before you can guide others, you must learn how to stand alone. And you did. Your energy is different. People feel it, even if they don't understand it. That's why some are drawn to you, and others feel uncomfortable around you. You carry something rare, something real, and not everyone can handle that. The shift you're experiencing right now, things are changing. Your mindset, your energy, your circle. You're outgrowing old versions of yourself, old habits, old connections. It feels uncomfortable, but this is growth. This is elevation. You are not crazy. You question yourself, wondered if you were overthinking everything. But you're not. You're just seeing clearly in a world full of illusions. And clarity can feel lonely. Why you can't go back? You tried going back to who you used to be, to old patterns, old mindsets, but it doesn't feel right anymore. Because once you awaken, you can't unsee the truth. You are being called for more. There's a reason you feel this pull, this urge for something deeper. You're not meant for average. You're not meant for surface-level living. You're meant to rise, to grow, to become something powerful. Your purpose is bigger than your pain. Everything you went through was building you for something greater. Your story isn't just about survival. It's about transformation. One day, your pain will become your power. You are not alone. It may feel like it, but there are others like you. Chosen ones, awakened souls, people who feel deeply just like you. You're part of something bigger. This is your moment. Everything led you here. Every struggle, every lesson. This moment is where you decide who you become next. Embrace who you are becoming. Stop hiding your truth. Stop dimming your light. You were never meant to be small. You were meant to shine. Now listen carefully, chosen one. This is your confirmation. If this message reached you, it's not a coincidence. It's your sign to step into your power. Comment, "I am chosen," if you feel this deep in your soul. Hit like if you're ready to embrace your journey. And subscribe to Chosen Wave, because this is just the beginning. Tell me, what part of your journey changed you the most? The weight you carried was never meant to break you. There were moments you thought you wouldn't make it. Moments where everything felt too heavy, too confusing. Like life was testing you beyond your limits. But look at yourself now. You're still here. Still standing. Still searching for truth. That weight didn't destroy you. It revealed your strength. You were forced to grow faster. While others were distracted, you were evolving. While they chased validation, you were questioning reality. You didn't have the luxury of staying asleep. Life pushed you to wake up early, to see things most people avoid their entire lives. And that's why your mindset is different. The isolation had a purpose. You felt alone, disconnected, like no one truly understood you. But that isolation was necessary, because growth requires silence. Transformation requires distance. You weren't being abandoned. You were being separated for elevation. Your intuition became your guide. At some point, you stopped trusting everything outside and started listening within. That quiet voice, that gut feeling, that inner knowing. That's your power. Chosen ones don't rely on noise. They move with awareness. You see through people now. Fake energy doesn't fool you anymore. Empty words don't impress you. You notice intentions. You feel vibrations. And sometimes it's exhausting. Because once you see truth, you can't pretend anymore. Not everyone is meant to stay. Some people walked away. Others changed. Some revealed sides you never expected. And it hurts. But not everyone is meant to grow with you. Some people are only part of your lesson, not your future. Letting go was part of your evolution. You were being redirected all along. Every wrong turn you took, every plan that failed, it wasn't failure. It was redirection. Life was moving you away from what wasn't aligned. Even when you didn't understand it. Even when it hurt the most. You started craving peace over attention. You don't need validation like before. You don't chase noise anymore. Now you want peace, clarity, realness. That shift, that's growth, that's awakening. Your energy became selective. You don't give your time to everyone now. You don't open up easily anymore. Not because you're cold, but because you've learned your worth. You protect your energy. You protect your peace. And that's power. The old you is fading away. Sometimes you miss who you used to be. The simpler version. The unaware version. But you've outgrown that person. And growth always feels uncomfortable. You're not losing yourself. You're becoming your true self. You're breaking generational patterns. Things you went through. They didn't start with you. Cycles, pain, limitations. But they end with you. You're the one who chose to change, to heal, to rise above it all. Your silence speaks volumes. You don't argue like before. You don't explain yourself to everyone. Because you've realized, not everyone deserves your truth. Sometimes silence is the strongest response. You're learning to let go without closure. Not every situation gave you answers. Not every ending made sense. But you still moved forward. Because closure doesn't always come from others. Sometimes it comes from within. And that's a different kind of strength. You're becoming mentally unstoppable. Things that once broke you now barely shake you. You've built resilience, a mindset that refuses to stay down. You've been through too much to be weak now. You're starting to trust the process, even when things don't make sense. You're learning to trust, to believe that everything is aligning. Even the delays, even the setbacks. Because deep down, you know this journey isn't random. You're attracting different energy now. Your circle is changing. Your conversations are deeper. You're attracting people who understand you, who match your mindset, who see life the way you do. Because your frequency has changed. You're no longer afraid of being alone. You've faced loneliness before. You've sat with your thoughts. And you survived it. Now being alone doesn't scare you. Because you've become your own strength. You realize how powerful you are. After everything, you're still standing, still growing, still evolving. That's not normal strength. That's chosen strength. You're stepping into your real identity. This is who you were meant to be. Not the version shaped by others. Not the version seeking approval. But the real you. Awakened. Aware. Powerful. And this is only the beginning. You're starting to outgrow your old reality. Places that once felt normal now feel strange. Conversations that once excited you now feel empty. It's like your soul is rejecting what no longer aligns. You're not losing interest in life. You're losing interest in illusions. And that's a powerful shift. The truth feels heavy sometimes. Seeing clearly isn't always peaceful. Sometimes it's overwhelming. You notice things others ignore. You feel energies others don't understand. And it can feel like a burden. But this awareness is also your greatest gift. You were never meant to follow the crowd, the path everyone else is walking. It was never designed for you. That's why forcing yourself to fit in always felt wrong. Because you're not here to follow trends. You're here to create your own path. Your soul remembers something more. There's a feeling inside you, like you're meant for something greater, something beyond normal life, beyond routine, beyond limitations. You can't explain it, but you feel it, and that feeling is real. You've learned the hard way. No shortcuts, no easy lessons. Everything you know came from experience, from pain, from mistakes, from deep reflection. And that's why your wisdom hits different. You do react like before. Things that once triggered you now make you pause. You observe. You analyze. Because you've learned. Not everything deserves your energy. That control. That's growth. You're becoming emotionally intelligent. You understand emotions now. Not just yours, but others too. You can read between lines. Feel unspoken tension. You see what people try to hide. And that awareness gives you a different kind of power. You're detaching from what drains you. You've started pulling away from negativity, from fake connections, not out of ego, but out of self-respect. You've realized protecting your peace is necessary. You're not chasing, you're attracting. You're not forcing things anymore. Not begging for attention. Not chasing validation. Now you focus on yourself. And what's meant for you finds you. That's alignment. You've accepted that not everyone will understand. And that's okay now. You don't need everyone to agree with you, to see your vision, to validate your journey, because you finally understand yourself. And that's enough. You're walking a different path now. It's not crowded here. It's quiet. Not many people choose this road because it requires truth, discipline, self-awareness. But this path leads somewhere powerful. You're becoming more self-aware every day. You notice your patterns, your thoughts, your reactions. You reflect more. You understand yourself deeper. And with that awareness comes transformation. You're healing, even if it doesn't feel like it. Some days still feel heavy. Some wounds still hurt. But you're not where you used to be. You've made progress, even if it's slow. Healing isn't instant, but it's happening. You're learning to love yourself differently. Not through validation, not through others' approval, but through acceptance of your flaws, your past, your journey. And that kind of self-love is rare. You're becoming comfortable with change. Before change scared you, now you expect it, because you've realized change is growth. Nothing stays the same, and neither do you. You're not the same person anymore, and you never will be again. Too much has changed. Too much has been revealed. You've seen too much truth to go back to who you were. You're building a new version of yourself. Piece by piece, lesson by lesson, you're creating someone stronger, wiser, more aware. Not perfect, but real. You're finally understanding your journey. It's starting to make sense now. The pain, the confusion, the isolation, it all had a purpose. It was all leading you here. You're stepping into your power slowly. Not all at once. Not overnight. But step by step. You're becoming more confident, more aware, more aligned. And soon, you won't even recognize the old you. You're learning the power of letting go. Not everything is meant to stay. Not every connection is meant to last forever. You've started releasing what weighs you down. Old habits, old attachments, and even though it hurts, it also sets you free. You no longer beg for understanding. You used to explain yourself, over and over again, hoping people would finally get you. But now you've stopped, because real ones don't need explanations. They feel you without words. You've faced versions of yourself you did like. Your anger, your fears, your insecurities. You've seen it all. And instead of running, you faced it. That's real growth. You're becoming more disciplined. You're not as distracted anymore. You don't waste energy like before. You're more focused, more intentional, because you know your future depends on what you do now. You're breaking your own limits, things you once thought you couldn't do. You're doing them, slowly, silently. You're proving yourself wrong, and that's powerful. You're not afraid to walk away anymore. If it feels wrong, you leave. If it drains you, you detach. No more forcing. No more begging. You've learned. Peace is more important than attachment. You're seeing life from a higher perspective. You don't react to everything anymore. You observe. You understand that everything happens for a reason. Even the painful parts. You've started seeing the bigger picture. You're becoming less reactive, more aware. Before, emotions controlled you. Now you control them. You pause. You think. You choose your response. That awareness is a different level of power. You're aligning with your true self, not the version others created, not the version shaped by fear, but your real self. Authentic, raw, awakened. And that alignment changes everything. You're starting to feel peace within chaos. Even when life isn't perfect, you're calmer, stronger, more grounded. Because your peace doesn't depend on external things anymore. You're no longer controlled by fear. Fear still exists, but it doesn't control you anymore. You move forward anyway. You take risks anyway, because you've realized growth lives on the other side of fear. You're learning the value of your energy, where you invest it, who you give it to. You've become selective, because your energy is your power. You're becoming harder to manipulate. You see through lies, through fake intentions. People can't play you like before, because you've learned. From experience, from pain, you're creating boundaries without guilt. You say no, without over-explaining. You protect your space, without feeling bad, because you've realized boundaries are self-respect. You're attracting what you deserve now, not what you tolerate. Your standards are higher. Your mindset is stronger. And now, your life is starting to reflect that. You're not afraid of change anymore. In fact, you expect it. Because every change before led to growth, led to understanding, led to evolution. You're finally trusting yourself, your decisions, your intuition. You don't second-guess everything anymore. Because you've learned. You were right more than you thought. You're becoming unrecognizable in the best way. The old you wouldn't survive what you've been through. But this version of you, stronger, wiser, awakened, you've evolved. You're stepping into a new chapter. This isn't the end. This is the beginning of something greater, something deeper. A new version of you is emerging. And this time, nothing can stop it. You're no longer settling for less than you deserve. You've tolerated enough, accepted less than you deserved, just to keep peace. But not anymore. Now you see your value clearly. And anything that doesn't match it, you walk away from without hesitation. You're learning that silence is power. Not every situation needs a reaction. Not every opinion needs a response. Sometimes, your silence speaks louder than words ever could. You've mastered the art of not explaining yourself. And that's a different kind of strength. You've stopped seeking external validation. You don't need approval like before. You don't need constant reassurance. Because now, you validate yourself. Your worth isn't defined by others anymore. It comes from within. You're becoming comfortable with being misunderstood. People will judge you, misread you, talk about you. And for the first time, it doesn't shake you, because you know who you are. And that's enough. You're letting your actions speak louder than words. You don't talk as much about your plans. You don't explain your moves. You just act. Quietly, consistently. And that silent progress is more powerful than any announcement. You're breaking free from emotional dependence. You don't rely on others for happiness anymore. You've stopped expecting people to complete you. Because you've realized you were already whole. And that realization changes everything. You're becoming more patient with yourself. You don't rush your growth anymore. You don't compare your journey. You understand. Everything takes time. And you're finally giving yourself the grace you always deserved. You're learning that not every battle is worth fighting. You've stepped back from unnecessary conflicts, from pointless arguments, because your peace is more important than being right. And that maturity sets you apart. You're trusting divine timing more than ever. Things aren't happening when you want, but they're happening when they should. And now you understand that. You trust the delays. You trust the process. Because everything before proved that timing matters. You're becoming more grounded in reality. Not everything is fantasy anymore. Not everything is emotion-driven. You balance your awareness with logic, your intuition with action. And that balance is what makes you powerful. You're no longer easily distracted. You've cut off unnecessary noise, useless habits. You focus on what matters now. Growth, peace, purpose. Because your time is too valuable to waste. You're creating a life that reflects your growth. Your environment is changing. Your mindset is evolving. You're building something real, something aligned with who you've become. And slowly, Your outer world is catching up with your inner transformation. You're no longer afraid to be yourself fully. No masks. No pretending. You show up as you are. Raw. Authentic. And that authenticity is what makes you stand out. You're realizing how rare you truly are. Not everyone thinks like you. Not everyone feels like you. And that's your power. You're not meant to be common. You're meant to be different. And now you embrace that. You're finally understanding your worth deeply. Not surface-level confidence, but deep, unshakable self-worth. The kind that doesn't break under pressure. The kind that doesn't depend on others. And once you reach that level, there's no going back. You're moving with purpose now. No more random decisions. No more wasted energy. Everything you do has intention behind it. Because you've realized your life has meaning. You're becoming the person you needed before. The strength you were searching for. You've become it. The support you needed. You've learned to give it to yourself. You've become your own guide. And that is true evolution. You're finally seeing the bigger picture clearly. Everything connects now. Every experience. Every lesson. Nothing was random. Nothing was wasted. It was all part of your awakening. You're no longer afraid of outgrowing people. At first it hurt, realizing not everyone could come with you. But now you understand. Growth requires separation. Evolution requires distance. And you've accepted. Not everyone is meant for your next level. You're becoming more protective of your peace. You don't entertain drama anymore. You don't engage in negativity. The things that once pulled you in now push you away. Because your peace is no longer negotiable. You're learning that everything is energy. The rooms you enter, the people you meet, you feel it all. Good energy lifts you. Bad energy drains you. And now you choose wisely. You're not explaining your growth to anyone. You've stopped trying to make people understand your journey. Because those who are meant to understand already do. And those who do never will. You're becoming comfortable with your own company. You enjoy your solitude now. Not as loneliness, but as peace. You've built a connection with yourself. A bond that doesn't depend on anyone else. And that independence is powerful. You're finally breaking free from your past. It doesn't control you anymore. It doesn't define you anymore. Yes, it shaped you, but it doesn't limit you. You've taken your power back. You're thinking differently now. Your mindset has shifted. You question things more. You seek truth. You seek understanding. And that curiosity is what keeps you evolving. You're not easily impressed anymore. Surface-level things don't excite you. Fake success doesn't inspire you. You look deeper. For meaning. For authenticity. Because you've learned. Not everything that shines is real. If you made it this far, it's not by accident. Something inside you needed to hear this. Something inside you is waking up right now. So don't ignore it this time. Type "I am chosen" in the comments if you feel this deep in your soul. Let the universe and yourself know you're ready to step into your power. Hit like if you're done doubting yourself. If you're done shrinking. If you're ready to embrace who you truly are. And subscribe to Chosen Wave, because this journey, it's only getting deeper, stronger, and more real from here. Now tell me, what was the moment that changed you forever?